Am I pissed off that the right is eating itself? Am I mad that MAGA and conservatives are tearing each other apart and so focused on each other that they can't focus on anything else? Nope, I'm not mad at that at all. I'm not on anyone's side, and I'm telling you right now why I'm irritated. Mad as shit. I'm mad because this is making me agree with Candace Owens. I hate those words that just came out of my mouth. Hello, and thank you for watching and listening to another episode of the Podacity with Keita Rose.
I'm popping this shit in real life. They popping that shit for real. They not having shit going on. That's why they can't get a deal.
Here we dare to use our voices, have the audacity to own who we are, and vow, raise up your roses, we vow to never stop, never shrink, and most importantly,
Never! Shut up, this is not gonna happen.
like, share, subscribe, talk shit in my comments. You know, tell me how you really feel. Hit that bell notification so I can pop up on your timeline. Why wouldn't you want to see me on your timeline? And hype this video up if you can. All right, let me just hop into it because I already know what a lot of you are gonna say, right? A lot of you are gonna be like,
Why do we care? Why do we give a f? I don't care about Charlie Kirk. I don't care about Erika Kirk. I don't care.
make no mistake, this is not about Charlie Kirk. This isn't about whether or not we care about Erika Kirk and whether or not she's grieving. Anybody with eyes can see that Erika Kirk is in position. She's in her CEO position, right? She's not a grieving widow. People don't just grieve differently. She has showed us week after week after week, month after month, since her husband's tragic death, she's ready to be a boss, that she's always been a boss, that she was ready to be in that position. So much so that conservatives are pissed right now that she's taken her family photo of Charlie, her wedding photo, off of the shelf. She's replaced it because it's not even been a year yet and she's already moved on. We've already seen that. The theories have already been made. The points and the posts have already been made. We've already seen that. So why do we care? Let me tell you why we give a or why you should. Number one, what we knew as just a conservative platform has now pulled in 85 million a year, and it's growing. It's growing. In fact, a lieutenant governor of Texas pledged $1 million to Turning Point USA because they want to get Turning Point USA in our schools in Texas. Why does that affect you? Well, if you don't live in Texas, you might not give a f. However, if you live in red states, seeing as the conservatives are running shit and running amok, might I add, running shit right now, you might want to care about what is being put in your children's school. Speaking of children, the Epstien files dropped and everybody went crazy for a little minute, right? Epstien was everywhere. Epstien. And so many people, right and left, Democrats and Republicans, said, how could this have happened? How was this done right in front of our faces? Well, we're about to break some shit down because this is how it happens right in front of your face. No one gave a f about Project 2025. No one cared. It was too long. I think in a past video, I said it was like 100-something pages. I'm sorry. I meant 700 to 800. I'm sorry. That's how long it was. And I remember when it came out, me skimming through it and reading through it and saying, this is terrible. Now, everything that was put in those files, everything that was put in Project 2025 is being implemented right now. And it's happening so rapidly. And there's so much information coming and slapping us all across our faces that we don't know where to look. And when you are confused, right, they say the devil is the master of confusion. Why? Because when you're confused about shit, you usually don't know what decision to make. When your nervous system is dysregulated and when you're in survival mode, you try to pick the best scenario, you try to pick the best decision, that of which can help you survive. And that is what the American people are doing right now. We are surviving. Whether or not you love and hip hop drama, Zeus Network bullshit, whether or not you don't want to be involved in politics because you don't do politics, I'm telling you right now, if you don't pay attention to the shit that's being shown to us, politics will bend you over and do you and your family and your children. I'm sorry to be so frank. I'm sorry to be so direct, but this is serious. It is something you should give a about. Right-wing conservatives, MAGA, right, are literally trying to destroy Candace Owens. They are calling her demonic. They are sending out Twitter storms, which if you don't know what that is, it's when a group, a party says, hey, everybody, this is what we're going to post around this time to make it look like this subject is trending, right? Everybody's talking about it, but really it's just bots and people that belong to certain organizations that know that around this time you are to get on 1, 5, or 10 of your accounts and tweet this thing. And what has been tweeted is Candace Owens is evil. She's demonic. She's low IQ, which is the new N-word. Hear me when I say this. Low IQ is the new N-word. They've already tried. There's right-wing conservatives like Nick Fuentes and everybody else who said Lily Gaddis, who has put on blackface to let us know we don't care anymore. We're not afraid, right? We've seen countless numbers of people do racist shit, the most racist things that you can think of, and get GoFundMes when, rightfully so, they're canceled or when they're fired. Their GoFundMes alone have reached more than what the average American makes in a year, just by being racist. We've seen the president on his own socials, right, post a video depicting President Obama and his wife as monkeys, which this is known. If you don't know and you don't travel, come with me to Bali, right? We'll plug that in at the end of this. If you don't know and you don't travel, Black people, Black Americans specifically, being called monkeys is a national thing. It's international. Everyone knows that they call us monkeys to call us stupid and deranged and savage-like, right? We don't know anything. We're just animals. Whilst we saw the nasty, disgusting, deranged things that were in that file, and it keeps being revealed to us every day, we saw those nasty things being done by the elites. Notice how when it's a Black American, it's a monkey, it's a savage, it's a low IQ individual, which is what Candace Owens' former colleagues are now calling her. Low IQ. And let me tell you this, Candace Owens is a lot of things. She is not stupid. Candace Owens is a lot of things. She's morally corrupt in more ways than one, but she is not stupid. So they want us to believe that Black people are low IQ, low vibrational, really stupid, really disgusting. Whereas when we see who it is that's really deranged, disgusting, demonic, they call those people elites. Words matter. Words have meaning, and words have connotations that stick with us. This is important. So when you see somebody like Erika Kirk and you see Candace Owens ripping her to shreds by not only throwing out conspiracy theories, right, that none of us can prove, but going and deep diving into her life, you will see people like Ben Shapiro. You'll see people like Dan Bongino. Let's see, Dan Bongino, the co-deputy director of the FBI. Well, he was the co-director of the FBI, but then he saw, in my opinion, oh, that reminds me.
Everything that I said before this and after this is alleged. It's completely and totally made up. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I'm alleged. I'm A.I. This is a simulation. Everything that I say is solely my opinion.
He saw what was in those nasty ass files and decided, oh, this is enough. I'm going to go back to podcasting. Imagine the amount of people right now that want to be content creators that would die to get a contract with the government, to get paid more than you could ever imagine and have a very high title in society. But to throw all that away and say, that reminds me of Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? She was going so hard talking about Jasmine Crockett's eyelashes because they like throw out those microaggressions with your long nails and your eyelashes. Well, y'all talked about our fat asses too, but that doesn't stop you guys from going and plumping up your ass and lips. So you don't mind our beauty standards. You don't mind African-American women beauty standards at all. But even Marjorie Taylor Greene couldn't handle the smoke. She turned her back on Trump and then said that Trump was threatening her, sending out dog whistles against her. Oh my God. Oh my God. What do you mean the man that you spent all this time defending? What do you mean the man that you spent all this time rallying for, being racist for? What do you mean he turned his back on you and he threatened you? Why? Why would he do that? Well, because you were sure that he was going to make good on his promise by releasing the Epstien files unredacted so that we could see who and what was a part of this nasty trafficking ring. He promised. He lied. And you found out he lied. And then you wanted nothing to do with it. And now he's threatening you. So I say all that to say this. Candace Owens just dropped a bombshell trailer and everybody is talking about it. It's gotten so many people mad that even these conservative Christian family men are saying the most disgusting things about her. Let's take a listen.
President Trump says that Kirk has died after he was shot from a nearby building.
After being shot at Utah Valley University.
The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead.
The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
I didn't even get to give him a kiss goodbye.
That young man, I forgive him.
Take your time.
Erika Kirk has been named the new CEO of Turning Point USA.
My husband's dead. Like, I'm not trying to be morbid, but he's dead.
It's weird to say excited.
Describes her husband's funeral as the event of the century.
Yes, she did.
Merch, hats.
We have 50,000 plus hat orders.
Nobody knows why she's out there in a glittering pantsuit in a recreated tent that her husband tragically was murdered in, throwing merch out.
Everyone grieves differently, so if someone's acting weird, don't read into that.
Zionists, the Prime Minister of Israel, all lied through their teeth about Charlie Kirk.
Her operation was in Constanta, the epicenter of Romania's trafficking scandal.
We are conversations to have with a 15-year-old. I'm gonna touch your butt.
$8.6 million to their own shell company. What is going on?
We have nothing to hide. My aunt used to tell me never do something that you don't want on the front page of a newspaper.
This investigative series, because what you might not know is that Candace Owens has been an investigative journalist for quite some time. In fact, the reason why I am not a fan of Candace Owens and will never, ever, ever be a fan of Candace Owens is because she did a documentary, right, when she was working with the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro, these same people, right? The owners of the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring, I think that's how you say it, because literally every time I hear this man speak, I am bored to death, so his name is very well suited, have now gone against Candace. See, when she was going against George Floyd, right, who was never a politician, who wasn't even a content creator, who didn't want to become rich and famous off of grifting or pandering or making talking points, who was just a United States citizen, an African-American man who was brutally murdered by the police, Candace said he was a drug addict. In fact, he died of an overdose. He didn't die. She wanted us to not believe our own eyes, which is right now what's happening with the whole Charlie Kirk situation and the whole Erika Kirk situation. They don't want us to believe what we see. We can see. We are not stupid. And no matter how much AI you put out there, all this AI slop, right? No matter how much you censor these content creators and these platforms, it's just the thing about it is the truth moves a bit faster, always. But it moves so fast that you need to pay attention. Because if you don't pay attention, you might miss it. When Candace Owens was coming up, she had no problem trashing the Black Lives Matters movement. She had no problem trashing George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor was with a drug dealer. She used to date a drug dealer. And that's why she deserved the police to bust into her house at night and murder her. Because she should be, aware of the company that she kept. That's why I felt no empathy towards Candace Owens when her heart got shattered. And make no mistake, I do believe that her heart got shattered when her best friend, Charlie Kirk, was murdered. I am a United States veteran. I served in the Army. And anybody that has ever served in the United States Army or any type of military will tell you that assassination of Charlie Kirk was not just a small town boy that's good with guns that can make that much of a precision shot. So immediately upon looking, I said, and everybody around me said, something's not right. But of course, because of all the drama that was surrounding it and all the emotions that was surrounding it, no one could pay attention to that. Oh, somebody killed him and they put gay stuff on the bullets. Yeah, so it was the left. We know more about the left trying to hurt the right, trying to hurt right-wing podcasters than we do about the man that attempted to assassinate. Who was the man? Comment down below if you know, without having to Google, if you know the man that attempted to assassinate our president. Do you know his name? We never even hear anything about him. I mean, shouldn't he make history? Shouldn't he be well known? Shouldn't we know everything about that trial and everything that's going on? I mean, he tried to hurt our president. Listen, a lot of this, because I also went to school for media, is a bunch of shit that they're going to throw in front of your face and make you look at everything but the truth. And so when Erika Kirk came into that position, she came in as a grieving widow, a sad widow. She's crying, and everybody called bullshit because we're a bit too smart now, thanks to technology, thanks to technology. Thanks to technology, we're all a little bit too smart. That's what they hate. They want to make America great again because they want to go back to a time where we didn't question anything, back to a time where women were oppressed, back to a time where black people didn't have rights, which is what Charlie Kirk went around to different colleges saying, despite him being friends with a black woman. The civil rights movement was a mistake, is what Charlie said.
You said the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, so the parts of the Civil Rights Act were great, but the way it's now being implemented to force men in female bathrooms to push forward of the trans agenda, the intent of the Civil Rights Act is way beyond what it was originally authored for.
But the intent specifically originally was to
Well, that's interesting. So the intent and the law are two different things. So the intent was noble, which was to say that no American can be not allowed into a place of business based on the color of their skin or their ethnic heritage. Totally agreement with that. That's not what the law only did. It created a massive anti-racist DEI army that then gave us affirmative action.
The civil rights movement is the reason why black people are allowed to have voices now, is the reason why black people aren't drinking out of a certain water fountain or being refused service now. The civil rights movement is the reason why Candace Owens can be as big as she is. So it's just weird for me to see her stand by a man that said the civil rights movement was a mistake. But then all of us found out everything that we already knew. These talking points are okay. You can say everything you want about Black Americans and you'll get money for it. You'll get incentivized for it. But you can say nothing about, you can't say anything about Israel. Can't say anything about, Jewish community. Because that's prohibited, okay? But see, the reason why that conspiracy about the government might having something to do with Charlie's murder is so big is because, well, he was speaking against, I can't even say the name. You know what? I'm going to call it Izzy. He was speaking against Izzy. They wanted America first. Yes, we can be allies with other countries. Of course, we love Israel and we want to help Israel. Sure, says Charlie Kirk and other right-wing conservatives, but we just want to make sure that America is first. America is first, right? America is first, right? Well, who's first? Who do we care about their needs first? What country is getting free healthcare and education first? Well, it isn't America. You're an American. Are you getting free education? Are you getting free childcare? Are you getting free healthcare? No, you are not. So that's not first. And that's what Charlie was preaching on. See, Charlie was telling people, they're telling me to stop. I'm nervous. I think people are going to come after me. They're telling me to stop. But he didn't stop because he thought he had enough protection. He thought he had enough eyes on him, and he didn't. I think he also thought that his wife loved him. I think he also thought that his wife and his family loved him. And I can't speak on his family, but we've seen Erika Kirk and her tactics. We've seen Erika Kirk's behavior. And every grieving wife in America can see that she isn't grieving. So why does this all matter? Turning Point USA is becoming one of the fastest growing platforms and companies out there. Like I stated earlier, they have $85 million that's rolling in a year. Erika Kirk, the reason why she's not grieving and the reason why Candace Owens pointed out that just 11 days after Charlie's death, she was already rolling. She was back to business. She had $50,000. What was it?
Kirk has been named the new CEO of Turning Point USA.
My husband's dead. I'm not trying to be morbid, but he's dead.
It's weird to say excited.
Describes her husband's funeral as the event of the century.
And we saw that, didn't we? Fireworks and glittery suits and gaudy jewelry and big makeup and hair, big Texas style, pageant style makeup. Everyone look at me. Or should I say Arizona style pageantry. We saw all that and it just seemed weird.
Hats. We have 50,000 plus hat orders.
50,000 plus hat orders. If the hats were $20 for a hat, nicely put together hat, that's $1 million for hats. Wow. Goodness. That's $1 million in hats. That's not including the t-shirts and the hoodies. That's not including the event sales tickets. That's not including all the people that funded in and donated because of this grieving widow. Erika is pulling in almost $100 million. Why is this important? Because we already have politicians that's trying to put TPUSA in our schools. The reason why Charlie was going around to different colleges and debating, which that's not a debate, right? If you know anything about college, if you know anything about being on a debate team, then you know that you debate people that are in your same educational bracket, right? Your same intellectual bracket. 30-year-old man wouldn't debate a 5-year-old. It wouldn't even make any sense. You would win. So you're talking to college students that are going to school to learn. These are young kids that don't have much experience in anything, that maybe see things on the internet and believe that they have good talking points. You are a well-established, educated, grown man going to these schools and saying, let me debate you. And then when you win these debates, these aha moments are being clipped and sent all over the internet. Wow, Charlie's, man, he's good. No, he's not. He didn't talk to anybody with substance, but I digress. The reason why it was important for him to go to college campuses is because he needed to attack, right? He needed to target the youth. Why? Well, because the youth are mostly vulnerable, right? Are youth. And I know you're saying, well, college kids aren't youth. College kids are youth to a grown-ass man. These are a younger crowd, right? You want to target the youth. He was building up a movement of young conservatives. His job was to build up the young conservatives. Nicki Minaj ain't nothing. All black girls listen to is rap music. Boys always go to jail. They make up the most in convictions. We don't say arrests, we say convictions. The convictions, right? The civil rights movement was a mistake. All these talking points. We needed to get that in the mind of the youth, right? While the old farts, the elites, are poisoning the mind of the millennials, poisoning the mind of the boomers. The boomers, half the boomers are already gone. Let's just be clear. Their mind's already gone. Not because they aren't coherent, but because they've already been brainwashed now for decades. Why do I think Candace is pissed? I think Candace is pissed for a number of reasons. Number one, we told her that your token is gonna get spent. Your token is gonna get spent no matter how many years you got in the game, no matter how educated you are, how many degrees you got, right? Accomplishments are very long. We can't take that away from Candace. We can't. No matter how much you have of that, the right-wing conservatives think that you are a monkey. They think that you are a good old girl that's gonna do what you need to do. And for a long time, she did. And it wasn't until I saw a couple of episodes back, I was watching Candace Owens' podcast because she's gotten the right-wing conservatives just in a tizzy. So I had to see what was up. I saw her reacting to her old boss, say that she was the biggest mistake that they've ever made, saying that they wish they never hired her.
Look at her face. Look at her stupid face. You can literally see it in her eyes that she is a stupid.
What I was loath to see before, that Candace is not on our team. She's not pursuing the future that we're pursuing. She's not appealing to the audience we're appealing to. She does not hold the values that we hold to. I gave her every benefit of the doubt. I gave her far more benefit of the doubt than I should have. And I'm done.
Because Ben Shapiro's mad. They're angry because you platformed this woman, this black woman, and you never thought she'd turn on you, just like they didn't want Charlie to turn on Izzy. But he did. And after he did, well, so I'm gonna hope and pray for Candace's safety. Why? Well, because she's doing our job for us. This is blatant grifting. This is blatant pandering, and this is going to become dangerous. And so when everybody sits up here and says, how did this happen? How could we not have seen it? It's because nobody wants to pay attention, because you think you know it all. You think you've seen it all in regards to Charlie and Erika, but you ain't seen shit yet. So we got Dan Bongino. All of these people are going after Candace. She's evil, she's demonic, she's demonic. What's demonic is those Epstien files. Dan Bongino, who resigned as the FBI deputy director in January 2026 after a less than a year-long tenure, returning to his popular podcast, citing a desire to go back to his show and his family. Following the tumultuous period marked by clashes with the Justice Department over the Epstien case and the work on January 6th, if you don't know what happened January 6th, our president incited a riot where savages stormed the Capitol. But they got pardoned. So they're not criminal. So that's why we should give a so much. Let me tell you why we should give a We should give a because the people that are in charge of the police, the judges, the judicial system, we should care because they sit around here and they want to poison us by telling us that Black Americans are nothing, that Black Americans are weak, we're savages, we're disgusting, we're vile, we're low IQ, we don't know anything, we can't put a coherent thought together, we're criminals. Our Black men are all criminals, and they have the help of right-wing podcasters and Black podcasters like Officer Tatum, like Myron, who I believe is Middle Eastern because he looks Middle Eastern, and Anton Daniels that will say, yeah, the Blacks that have spent all of their time and the majority of their platform saying that the Black men and women are criminals. Black people are bad. I mean, we have actual people that have stormed the Capitol. When have we ever seen that in history? They get pardoned. So when they say, well, Blacks get convicted, we sure do. We get arrested and we get convicted. The only difference is there's another party that barely gets arrested. And when they do get arrested, they barely get convicted. And when they do get convicted, they might just get pardoned. And everything might just get expunged. It never happened. This is all in your imagination. Okay, so Dan Bongino, who went from being the FBI director, right, deputy director under Kash Patel, who's getting his ass chewed up by, not doing anything regarding the FBI, an old white lady that has been captured and kidnapped, and you think the FBI would care, but the FBI director, Kash Patel, is having the time of his life. Maybe because these people know that they only have a short amount of time before they're all going to jail. That's just my opinion. That's just my thoughts. But let's see what he has to say to Candace Owens, to little old Candace Owens.
You mother... You deserve to feel the little licks of the flames of hell on every inch of your body.
Jeez. And he goes on for about an hour just saying, F you, F you. Now, why does Candace Owens have the FBI acting a fool? Why does Candace Owens have it? Because she is turning the conservatives that aren't MAGA, because mind you, there are Democratic conservatives. I know that's hard to believe. There are Democratic people that have conservative values, that have more liberal views when it comes to other people. She has made a lane for herself. First, she was very far-right conservatives. The blacks are bad. Right? Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, they deserved it. We didn't appreciate that. Now she's full-blown, full metal jacket against the right-wing MAGA, the far-right conservative. Now she's not left. Mind you, she's still very much so conservative. And if paid correctly, she'll be going against any black person, man, woman, or child that's shot in the street by police officers. She don't care about nothing about that. She's made a lane for herself with people that are critical of MAGA and critical of Erika Kirk specifically, TP USA, which is going to be a new MAGA. It's the new MAGA because MAGA they are eating themselves alive. You got so many people leaving the MAGA movement, it's not even funny, and they're needing somewhere to go. They're not left, they're not liberal. They still think all Democrats like trans people, and all Democrats are blue-haired with piercings all over their face white women that are lesbians. They still think that, so they don't want to be in that party. But they're not right, like far right. They're not MAGA, so they gotta find where to go, and they're going, okay, we're TPUSA conservative. But see, she's blowing them. I'm talking about blowing a hole in them. She's blowing a hole in every bit of their lives. Candace Owens drops her investigative series. I'm going to watch it because I really, really want to know about Erika Kirk's involvement in Romania, specifically with her nonprofit organization, and what that has to do with child trafficking. Now, a lot of conspiracies have came up about Erika Kirk in Romania. She's kicked out of Romania, child trafficking organization, and they found out, and she's banned from Romania. Well, none of that can be confirmed. But if anybody can find out the truth, well, it's just gonna have to be Candace. Now, see, Candace did not start off with this Romania story. She wanted to go back even further with Erika's parents and then Erika's grandparents. Why does that matter? The past always matters. And the reason why I say that really matters is because I always thought it was weird when I did a little digging. I did this digging months ago. I said, well, I really want to know about this child trafficking thing because of, the Epstien files and everything. We need to know if the people that are running TP Toilet Paper USA is going to be involved or has been involved in these Epstien files. Why is that important? Well, I've already explained that the Lieutenant Governor of Texas is pledging millions of dollars to TPUSA, and they want to put this in our schools. Why? I know I shouldn't have to break this down all the way, but why do we not want anybody involved in trafficking of children? Why don't we want them to be ahead of programs that are implemented inside of our schools? We don't want that. Why? Because in 2050, we're going to say,
how didn't we see this? How was this done again right in front of our eyes?
People don't want to talk about the shit that they already know. Oh, I don't care who killed Charlie. I don't care if she's cheating on Charlie. I don't care about her getting handsy with J.D. Vance, even though she's a grieving widow that's making $1 million off of hats alone. I don't care about any of that stuff. You ain't got to. Pay attention to the real shit that's going on. Let's get into these allegations. So this is the conspiracy theory that's been going around, right? In early 2026, Candace Owens publicly accused Erika Kirk of partnering with Colonel Otto Boucher in a child trafficking ring in Romania. So this is important because the reason why it's important for her to dig deep into Erika Kirk's past is because Erika Kirk has been going around telling everybody that she was raised by a single mother. Because for some reasons, when black women are single mothers, we're the scum of the earth, right? But when you have other people like the Kardashians and everybody else that are single mothers, it's brave. It's brave. It's a story of triumph. We love it. But Candace Owens found out that Erika, her mom might have been single sometimes, but she can account of 4 marriages that this woman has had. And there's a lot of shading dealings with lottery tickets, gambling, and arrest warrants, and just a whole bunch of nasty things. Just a whole bunch of shit. Well, it's not hard to believe that you're committing fraud if you come from a family that commits fraud. So that's why that's important, and that's why everybody's pissed off. People are mad at this investigative series, but I don't understand why. If Candace is lying, then sue her for defamation, which is what Ben Shapiro, the owner of Candace's old podcast and media company, right, the Daily Wire, which is what he's saying. Sue her. Sue her. Well, she hasn't said anything yet, but I've seen 3 episodes, and I'm saying, oh shit, this is the reason why they do not want Candace speaking. She's going to go back, because we're going to figure out where in your family were you connected to the military. Why is that important? Well, they say that in 2006, Erika Kirk created the Everyday Heroes Like You Foundation, partnered with the military, and they went over to Romania. And when Erika took over, and they had the Romanian Angels. But the problem was that in that specific area of Romania, even 10 years before Erika Kirk founded this nonprofit that did so well that it could partner with the military at 17. What were you doing at 17? Comment down below. I wasn't creating $1 million nonprofit organizations that partnered with the United States military. I wasn't doing that, which makes me think that the people behind Erika, when she was a child, had dealings with this. Yeah, and that would be her family, which is what Candace is uncovering episode by episode by episode, and that is why they're mad. So in the early 2000s, there was a place in Romania that I cannot pronounce, right, that was really, really heavy with trafficking, child trafficking specifically, organ transfers and donations, if you know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say it in the way I'm not going to get flagged. That was when Erika was very, very young, okay? Might have been like 6 or 7 years old. Let's fast forward to when she's 17. She founded in 2006, when she was only 17 years old, she founded this nonprofit organization that partnered with the military, and the military had a base, right, in Romania. So because they partnered very closely with the military, they had a lot of organizations that allowed them to crowdfund. Like, there's a Romanian orphanage, and if you want them to get adopted, we want you to buy Christmas gifts for them. It's kind of like, you know, this what this reminds me of? It reminds me of all those Feed the Children commercials, but we never see those kids healthy. All we saw was, you know, in the arms of an angel. We saw all these African kids with huge bellies. They weren't being fed properly. Flies all around their faces and crawling on their eyelid and eyeballs. We saw that. We never saw these kids grow up and say, God, thank you. And those people made millions, if not billions of dollars, because it's a nonprofit. We'd never know because it's not taxed. Just given from your heart. A lot of people do a lot of shady shit behind nonprofits because it's not taxed. A lot of churches do a lot of shady shit behind nonprofits because it's not taxed. So one of the colonels that was involved in these and helping all these children was Colonel Otto Boucher. Well, let's just see what Candace Owens says about Colonel Otto Boucher.
Kirk began the Romanian Angels Project in late 2012, early 2013 through to 2015. And obviously you have seen all the TikToks describing the scandal. And to explain that to you, just to kind of separate the myth from the facts of this, I'll tell you what the facts are. The facts are that Lori Francevy established the Everyday Heroes Foundation, which was supposed to help children in need. That was established in Arizona under Erika's mother's name, Lori Francevy. What they decided to do, as charities do, is that they develop certain projects and certain missions, and what spun out from Lori's charity was the Romanian Angels Project. And they got this deal with the military. They worked with the military in Romania to help orphans, okay? Now, it is a fact that they worked with, at that time, Colonel Otto Boucher. Colonel Otto Boucher was then accused of running a brothel with young children, taking them onto the military base for himself, his sexual needs. A woman filed in Romania and said, this is what's actually happening. These children are going onto the base and they're being prostituted to military men. So it was not, there is no articles that say Erika Francevy or Lori were involved in this, but it is a fact that they were working on the Romanian project with Colonel Boucher. They thanked him. And then Colonel Boucher gets accused of running a Romanian brothel with Romanian children. Those are the facts of that. In 2011, Tyler Boyer also went to Romania to work with the Romanian government. I am still trying to determine exactly what he was doing with them. I'll have more on that hopefully later. In 2013, Tyler Boyer posted a photo of himself with a Ukrainian orphan named Natalia. She doesn't, he says in the post, or his wife says in the post, current wife says in the post, that she doesn't speak English, Natalia, and he claims to be.
It's crazy how this movement is anti-abortion. But then when skeptics say, well, okay, all right, well, we're okay with, you guys policing or adding more regulations to the abortion policies. We don't necessarily want you to abolish abortion because there are people that are SA'd and, have a baby as a result of it. No woman should ever have to experience that, right? So we don't want people to just have abortions for sport, but we also don't want to force victims to carry their rapist babies. And when we ask questions like, well, what about all the foster children that are being harmed? What about those children? What about all those adopted children that just go missing out of nowhere? Why are all these kids going missing? When we say things like that, and this same group that cares so much about children that they want us to keep having them say, don't worry about any of that stuff, just don't have abortions. It's just weird how, certain rings are attached to certain adoption agencies, are attached to certain foster care systems that just seems like they all just go in a circle, like a loop, like a cycle. Erika Kirk ran a charity called the Romanian Angels, which reportedly operated in Romania until at least 2011 to help orphans. During this time, she partnered with the U.S. Marines and worked with Colonel Otto Boucher. Colonel Boucher was accused in 2019 by Anna Marie Nucci of running a prostitution and human ring out of the air base from 2010 to mid-2010s, which allegedly involved girls as young as 16. While these allegations have circulated, a Snopes report from September 2025 states there were no evidence that Erika Kirk was involved in child trafficking in Romania. Absolutely, she's 17 years old. Plus, it wasn't a 17-year-old that co-founded this huge nonprofit that was so big that it was able to partner with the military. No, it was the people behind her, which likely is her parents. A lot of these women, which you don't understand, are placed in position. That's why it's so crazy and damning when we see things like Erika Kirk was in Trump pageant. And wait, you're saying that Erika Kirk was a director of some of these pageants and she was a talent scout, which we're now finding out because of the Epstien files and Naomi Campbell and everything, that all the Epstein dealings with Victoria's Secrets, that a lot of these modeling agencies and pageant agencies were used to cover up, rings and certain things. Let me tell you how much I know for a fact that none of this evidence is going to come out because it involves the U.S. military. The U.S. military will sweep any and everything under the rug. I was serving the Army around 2013 when there was a prostitution ring in Fort Hood. There were so many prostitution rings in Fort Hood. And these military bases do not want this to go out. What happens with these rings, they'll get young soldiers, young women soldiers that are struggling with financials because privates do not make anything in the military, probably like $400 every 2 weeks. They make nothing in the military. Maybe that was exaggerated, but they make nothing. They'll get them another means of income by circling them around the base to high-powered soldiers. And you cannot tell on these soldiers. You cannot tell on these colonels. You cannot tell on these first sergeants. Why can't you tell on these people? Because they are the law. They are the government. You're not going to be able to sue them. You're not going to be able to call the local state police on them. It doesn't work that way. And so I knew something was fishy when our president decided to rename Fort Hood Fort Cabezos. No matter how much you rename it, it doesn't go away. We all know what goes down in Fort Hood. We all know what goes down in Fort Hood. So it did not surprise me that there's no evidence that showed that anything happened with this military base. And also, Colonel Boucher, nothing happened to him. I mean, he was just accused, but that was it. Nothing happened. Of course, nothing happened to a colonel. Nothing is going to happen to a colonel. It's just funny. So this is the reason why they're mad that Candace is doing digging in the back end. Here's my thing about that. If you have nothing to hide, you don't mind people going into your past because you have nothing to hide. If you have nothing to hide, then it will be an aha moment for the far right to say, ha, we got you. You see? She's crazy. We've debunked everything that she has said, but you can't do that. It's always she's lying, but they never can tell us what she's lying about. I am so interested in this Romania story because they're trying to put TP USA, Toilet Paper USA, in our schools. And what'll happen is there'll be a bunch of people that say, I don't care about any of that. And then in 20 years, when all of this, when it comes out that they were having operations in the school and different things like that, then it's like, how did this happen? Wait, care about my kid? I don't care about any of those other kids. I don't care about any of those other orphans. Care about my kid. Something fishy is going on with Erika Kirk and Turning Point USA. And I'm happy that Candace Owens is on their ass. I do not want anything to happen to her, even though all these men like Dan Bongino, the former deputy of the FBI, is saying that he wants something bad to happen to this lady, which is kind of like a dog whistle. I hope something happens to her, so I hope that Candace is keeping herself safe. I know what you're thinking, but I thought you didn't like Candace. I don't. But we need her investigative journalism skills, just like she didn't mind digging up all those nasty things about George Floyd. She shouldn't mind digging up all those nasty things about Erika Kirk and her ties to possibly Epstien. I want to know. I want to know it all because I want to protect my kid. And if you care, if you as a woman, why should I care? Well, this same CEO of Turning Point that had big corporations and big nonprofit organizations that are doing so well at just 17 years old is going around telling young girls to get married and have babies as soon as they can, even though she didn't start until her mid-30s. Pay attention to all these camps that are coming out everywhere, and they're trying to do marriage camps. And the incentive is $5,000 that you're going to spend in a weekend and then be forced to stay married to this person that you met in camp. Pay attention to Erika's roles in these pageants and how she was always chosen. It's almost like she had an army behind her. It's almost like she was placed in position. A lot of people call Erika a narcissist, say that she might be a sociopath because she has no feelings. We can see that she's trying to mimic feelings, right? But she doesn't actually feel. That's why 11 days after, she said, anyways, we have $50,000 in orders, or 50,000 orders for hats. She's moving like a machine. And we want to know who that machine's gonna be turned against. And I think Black Americans already know. So this is why you should care. You need to care. If you're a parent, you care about your children. If you're a Black woman, you see what's going on. If you're a Black man, you see how they try to frame you as a criminal when the actual criminals are being called elite. This is important. And I know that a lot of people don't want to tap into it. Don't worry, I will. I've been thinking about this for a minute. You got Megyn Kelly sitting up here saying on her platform, well, I don't care if Epstein got handsy. They're trying to normalize it. They're trying to make it normal. And if they can have these normal, casual conversations about SA and pedophiles, if they can do that, well, then in 5 years, it'll just be, normal. They're already making news reports that are saying that pedophilia isn't a crime. It's a disorder. They can't help it. Not around mine. I'm on their ass too. And I hope you guys pay attention for those of you that watch the full episode, because I know that this isn't my norm. And I know that this is boring and politics, but it's important. It's your life. It is your life that is at stake. Make no mistake. If you support me or this channel, please go on down to KitaSaid.com, buy a Growing Through It journal or a Balancing My Bullshit plural. Come with me to Bali to escape this simulation of hell. I'll have a better commercial about it later. Please go to my website to support. Let me know what your thoughts are about this episode down below. I will meet you down there. And until next time, Romanian angels. I'm just a little girl with a big dream. Just always involves trafficking. I don't know why. I don't know why everything always involves SA about children. But we want to put these people in our schools. Not on my watch. I will holla.